India was called the land of agriculture, but now we've moved to manufacturing because we've understood that manufacturing is an integral part of our vision of India 2047, of our vision to be a developed country. And our guests today here help these manufacturing achieve their fullest potential. So, welcoming. Hi, Samvit here. And Swajit. Yes. And they are the founders of Zometric. We're going to talk to them and understand their product as well as how they are helping the manufacturing industry in the country. So, welcome to the channel. Could you introduce yourself a bit, please? We'll Thank start with Samvit. Thank you, Pragya. Pragya. So, my name is Samvit Mishra. I graduated from IIT Kharagpur in 2008, and then I've worked in the manufacturing sector for 10 years, primarily in the automotive sector, like Ashok Leyland and Michelin tires. And then I worked in the FMCG sector in ITC. Then I moved on to technology domain. So overall 10 years in manufacturing and 5 years in technology. In technology, for example, I was at Amazon and Oyo and primarily helped improve operations and operational efficiencies by clubbing technology and improving operations. So that's a little bit about my background, and I'm the founder at Zometric. I'm also joined by my co-founder Swajit. Swajit, maybe, we are brothers. Yeah, Swajit, you
So
can
I
begin.
graduated from ITR Bhubaneswar in the year 2011. Post that, I started working with RVNL and companies like Dalmia Cement, BASF Chemical, and MYK Armament. In my last stint, I was working with MYK Armament, and most of the career I was working into sales and marketing kind of roles. So here in Zometric also I take care of sales and marketing.
Okay. So you take care of the technology and operations.
Yes. So technology, implementation, strategy, and understanding what will deliver value to the customer. Because I understand both manufacturing as well as technology, and Swajit takes care primarily of generating leads, sales, conversions, and strategies around that.
Tell us a bit more about how this idea was born, how Zometrics was formed.
Yeah, so that all this started when I was in ITC. Although I had experience of Ashok Leyland and Michelin tire, when I joined ITC, it was a very new division. It was this classmate division that you know,
The
notebooks, geometry boxes, pens, pencils. Uh, this category at that point of time was reserved for MSMEs. So ITC in itself could not have invested money into this category.
Right.
In terms of plant and machinery. So our business model itself was to work with a large number of manufacturers, contract manufacturers. That got me insight about how does an MSME operate, and we could see a huge gap between the way they were operating and the expectation of quality, cost, and delivery by ITC.
Right.
The standards were very different, right? And since we were operating in a kind of environment, we did not have our people directly placed in these factories. It naturally generated a requirement for digitization.
Right.
I was responsible for implementing systems and processes and ensure to bring them to a level of quality and delivery, all managing remotely. So there were 36 of them.
Oh.
Right? So from an environment where I was managing a very small part in a large organization like Ashok Leyland or a Michelin tire,
Yes.
suddenly ITC gave me an opportunity to manage 36 factories remotely, right? Of course, it was not 100% remote, but I was traveling. I had a small team. We
But
were
you
doing
couldn't be there present at each factory at all times.
Exactly.
You had to manage between,
Exactly.
juggle between those factories.
Yes. And when I started meeting these MSME owners, because they were owner driven companies, one of the complaint that came out by one of the owner was, look, last 3 years I had been trying to take a vacation with my family, but I'm not able to take it. I asked them why. He said, look, one of your manager calls me and asks me, for this particular SKU, what is the quantity ready? It takes me
almost 3 to 4 hours to figure out an answer to that.
To physically verify the stock and compare and notes and everything, and then give the figure.
Yeah. So the owner had no clue of what's going on in the factory unless he himself is in the factory. So this was back in 2012, right?
Okay.
Computers and mobiles and
Just
everything was
beginning.
just beginning, but we did not have any mechanism of collecting these information digitally, right? So this is one example. I said, this is fine. We could have asked to somebody else. He said, no, it's not that. It's manufacturing is far more complex, and something or the other goes wrong, and I need to be physically present in order to sort these problems out, because it is also a cost pressure, because of which they cannot hire managers who are highly educated and manage things. So I saw this is the genesis of identifying that there is a problem. And when I started talking with 36 of those factory owners, I found this is a common thread.
So there is a need for digital.
That is the genesis of the problem, right? And then when ITC wanted to improve the quality and everything, when I joined, basically we kind of trusted these manufacturers and started getting manufacturing done from them and dispatching our product to the market.
Right.
We thought if customer is going to find any problem, they're going to complain us, and then we will come to know. What we realized is, unless the product is of a certain value, right, and if the target customer is not somebody who can complain, for example, they are children, right, we don't get as much complaints. The reaction of it is they change the brand, right? So if you have a costly mobile or something, if you have a hope that something will, if there is a warranty,
feedback,
right? So there is no scope of feedback. So for the first time, I spoke with the CEO of ITC stationery division, and we said, look, I think customer complaint is not the metric that can actually assess our quality and how we are performing as a brand in the market. We need to do an independent assessment. And that is when we went and checked the quality of our product in the warehouses.
Okay.
I cannot tell the exact numbers, but it was a double digit number in terms of rejections that we had to do. We couldn't have done that because that would have killed the business margins and everything, but we clearly realized this is not going to work. That is when I was like charged with the responsibility of not just blocking or rejecting, but to ensure that we do not manufacture anything bad quality. We manufacture everything on time and improve a lot of matrices, including quality, cost, and delivery, right?
Set processes and to rise up to the
Standard that ITC is expecting, right? So, and that at that point of time, probably notebook was one of the category. We were entering into newer categories like writing instruments, pencils, and geometry boxes and everything. So a lot of new products were getting just launched, or we are not made a big impact in the market, but we were just entering into it.
Right.
And given the aspirations that ITC had, we couldn't have just let it go just like that. And since the model was such that we couldn't have checked the product and we couldn't have been the gatekeeper, that forced us to think ways and means of preventing defect generation, preventing delays in deliveries. So all of these things required us to monitor a lot of things remotely and set up the system. And that is when we, got in touch with some large OEM, probably the world's largest ERP manufacturer, ERP for manufacturers, and try to see how this can be solved. Very soon we realized this problem can't be solved by them. Okay. So I'm not taking names, but you can guess what I'm talking about. They are designed for accounting, inventory, XYZ, but not for manufacturing.
Right. And in India, because manufacturing in India, to be very honest, is not very organized.
One is that, plus the license cost of these ERPs are also exorbitantly high. Will kill it. ITC invested to some extent to manage certain things like goods receipt, and manufacturing is complex. Like ITC themselves, we were providing the paper, and they had to manufacture in certain SKUs. Then we had to take it back. So there's huge complexity around this thing, and none of the ERPs in the market were actually geared to solve those problems. None of them were actually aligned to understand how can I do a scheduling at a machine level, how I can monitor quality defects, how I can see whether if I do a certain change in my plan, am I ready to fulfill that? So there are huge complexities. This is probably not the right forum, but it's highly complex. I did a good job. We actually reduced the defect rate to 1/10 of what it was. Uh, and that added on to our bottom line, because quality or any of those losses is actually something which is not impacting your top line, but is actually eating your bottom line. That got me curious, and I started studying the market and the opportunity size. So when we talk about the opportunity, I realized that this problem is not specific to ITC and suppliers and vendors. There are huge inefficiencies in the manufacturing sector throughout the world. Even though we can say China is probably the number one, US is number two, when I speak with my friends abroad, probably I don't have a direct interaction with any Chinese kind of a situation, but I have indirect interactions because we used to import Chinese manufactured products for ITC, like for example pencils, and there were huge defects there, right? So it got me a notion, at least a hunch, that there's a big problem that needs to be solved, and it's not being solved in a systematic way. Talking about numbers, as on date 2023-24, let's say, manufacturing per se is about 70 to 80 trillion dollar market, probably more, but this is what you can get numbers if you do the research. Out of that, India is furnishing about 2.5 trillion dollar of supplies. Manufacturing is what is being done, which is a very small segment, but we see a lot of inflow happening in terms of demand to India, shifting from China to India. But let's talk about the 2.5 trillion alone. Right now, when we talk as Zometric, we have customers in India, we have customers in US, and probably some customers in Germany is going to happen soon, right? So our product is not only for India; it's for the globe. But I will take the context of India and explain the opportunity here, right? So out of $2.5 trillion, if I just take up the mature segments and segments where quality or any kind of criticality is there, where I can't just pass on anything into the market. Those markets are especially the sectors of automotive, which has to some extent aerospace, but I'm considering only automotive. I'm talking pharmaceutical, where things are critical, and let's talk about electronics and electrical. These three sectors combined together will be about $1.1 trillion market in terms of revenue. My assessment, as well as global experts like McKinsey, Bain, BCG, agree that about 12 to 20% of this revenue is actually inefficiency and you can call it like cost of poor quality and different kind of wastes. Okay. So 12 to 20% that comes out. Let's talk about around $120 billion of waste. It is not revenue. This is $120 billion only in India, which is a very small segment out of the $80 trillion. It's 2.6 trillion. $120 billion is the waste that is going down the drains. And since there are Indian customers here, $120 billion is approximately 1 lakh crore rupees of money which is going down the drain. Due to the efficiency gap. Due to the efficiency, wastages. I will explain a couple of them. For example, if I'm manufacturing something, I have 1 or 2% waste, right? Scrap, which is unwanted scrap is there, or downgrade is there, or rework is there. And the very fact that there is a possibility of manufacturing defect makes me put additional manpower onto very, very non-value adding activity like inspections, right? So that cost. Other kind of inefficiencies or wastes in the system are related to inventory. If I'm not able to predict or project what exactly the quantity I need, if my supplier is not able to deliver what I need at the right point of time, I have a solution, which is to stock up inventory, right? Now, stocking up inventory has two basic problems. One basic problem is any inventory stocked in is money locked in. If that money was in my bank, I could have been earning interest. If I've taken loan, I'm paying more interest than what I could have earned. So that's a waste of money. Second waste is obsolescence, right? Third is opportunity loss, right? People don't see that because if I had not put that money into some dead inventory stock, I could have purchased something which was required by my customer, which could have generated revenue for me, right? Right. So the inventory is another, another big area of opportunity loss. The third biggest area of opportunity loss is I have a capacity, but I'm not able to utilize the capacity because of my scheduling issues. Right. So if I was able to do 100 crore rupees of turnover, but I'm making only 70 crore rupees of turnover, the 30 crore of revenue loss has, let's say, 7 or 8% of my margin loss as well, right? So that is another loss. So if you combine all of these at a very, conservative measure, in India itself, with the current state, not the growing stage, right? If the current stage, we are talking about 1 lakh crore rupees going down the drain. Losses, right? And that impacts the competitiveness of Indian manufacturers as well. Of course, we will do the automation and scale up and all that, right? So because of
we're talking of that massive growth to become a developed country, this actually matters.
This matters, right? If I'm see, what happens, like if they get like $1 less from China, they will go to China. If I can reduce it to $2, right, my price can be reduced by $2. They can buy from me. Right? So that's
how do you solve this? Basically, now that we understand that
this is the problem statement, right? This is the area where we are operating in.
Okay.
Now we are a small bootstrapped company with vast understanding of where the problem is. We have cherry-picked certain areas, certain industries to start with, although we are seeing interest from many industries. Automotive and pharmaceuticals have been very easy customers for us because they understand these things, these mathematics, right? And especially the Six Sigma popularity has given them a framework of understanding what their losses are, right? When they do a assessment of a problem, they first assess what is the opportunity here. So that gives them a context of, okay, this problem has this value. So that becomes easy for us to sell our product and solution around it. So we have designed solutions which are uh, primarily based on data science and analytics. But the problem is, in order for data science to work, you need data, right? But the biggest challenge of India, and I worked in France as well as in India. When I was in France, operators used to know how to use laptops or desktops. When I see that in India, that was not the situation in at least in 2008 to 13, 14.
Right. It was just coming up.
Yeah. Now my question is like, why we were not using it? There were primarily a couple of reasons in India, right? Those reasons are manufacturing is a continuous process and you run day in, day out are running and churning out products. People don't have time to make mistakes or waste time, right? And there was a big phobia of the primary user of technology, which is the operator in the factory, right? Mostly these factory operators were not very highly educated, probably 8th or 7th pass, or probably not educated at all, or self-educated with some bit of knowledge. And a few years back, we did not have mobile smartphones. We probably had mobile, but not smartphone. We did not have cheap internet, which is why these operator level people did not have introduction to technology. Plus, a laptop or a desktop was also costly. Right now, we have a mobile or a tablet. The moment Geo came in and smartphones got cheaper, every operator before they joined a factory as a soft floor operator, they have knowledge of technology, right? So the phobia getting away from them is a favorable condition that emerged, right? So now when we say technology, when I go and speak to any CEO or any head of a manufacturing plant, the first thing they want is, I have so much of paper. I don't want any paper. So if you look for Zometric's website, Zometric,
Yes.
not Geometric. The first thing that we talk about is paperless manufacturing. Okay. So what is paperless manufacturing? Because look, I can give you AI, I can give you machine learning, I can give you data science, everything. But first we need data. And as long as you are capturing data in pen and paper,
Yes.
in paper-based forms, all my technology, all my AI, ML, everything is on the side. For your information, Zometric is the world's first statistical analysis module with AI interpretation capabilities.
Oh, and you this was launched when the
After ChatGPT got launched, we of course integrated those things.
Okay.
We didn't invent AI, we adopted AI, right? So
Yes,
we are the
yes.
first one, right? That's what I'm talking. So in terms of adopting the latest technology, we are fine. But the primary challenge of the industry is collecting the data, right?
Digitization before
Digitization.
digitalization.
Yeah. So how do I collect this information? That is the biggest challenge of the industry,
Right.
right? So that is the core thing that needs to be solved, not just by Zometric, but the entire industry. When I talk with people who are supposed to be my competitors, I'm like, we don't sell software. We sell outcome. We sell opportunity. We say, this is the money that is going down the drain. You save it and give a part of that money to us,
Yeah.
right? So if 1 lakh crore rupee is being going down the drain in India, let us say at least 20,000 crore can be saved. Out of that 20,000 crore, give us 2,000 crore, keep the remaining, with you.
Right.
So that's our pitch wherever we go. We don't sell software. We don't say we have the best ERP or the best, statistical solution, because they are not interested in it. I'm like, what they're interested in is I'm operating at 7-8% margin, 10% margin. 15-20% of them is going down the drain, right? Only by implementing a solution like us, like what we are proposing, at least theoretically, I can triple my profit, right? 7% to 15% getting added on is three times
for a
there.
manufacturer, even a 2-3% margin
Yeah, it's
means a
big.
lot.
It means a lot.
7-8% of
Yeah,
margin.
it's
Yeah.
in volume.
They
so
would
it will-
gladly
Yeah.
actually accept.
Yeah.
But then is that awareness already there when you go and speak to people in the manufacturing
I'll answer
sector?
this question with a question.
Okay.
What did you do when you did not have Google and you had questions?
Well, you went to the library most of the time. Took out a encyclopedia.
Did you go? How often did you go to library? Think in reality.
I was a good student, so I was in the library most of the times. But yes, I know people who would just call somebody and ask, or ask a friend, ask a teacher, ask somebody they know.
Seek
I guess,
reference
yes.
from somebody.
So they used to do that, right? I remember as a kid, my first or second unanswered question as a kid was, why is the color of sky blue? I did not have Google at that point of time. Okay. So when I used to ask this question, as a kid, I was being termed as a kid scientist. Okay. So we had questions.
Yes.
It's not that we did not have questions, but we did not ask because there was no supply.
Yeah.
So since the solution did not exist, people did not implement it, but it's a latent need in the market. And you talk to any CEO, any factory head, they will say digitization is the most primary need. And this $120 billion of waste that I'm talking about is something that we, in our assessment, can be solved through digitization. But the challenge here, the opportunity is that the challenge here is how to collect data. So basically, as at Zometric, we kind of facilitate 3 modes of data capture. Manual data capture, which whatever they were capturing in pen and paper, we facilitate to convert that into digitized form so that you can capture directly in the software.
Right.
You cannot do away with manual data capture because let's say I'm manufacturing this, I need to measure the diameter of this, right? I'm doing it offline, it's not automatic, so I need to record it somewhere. Then there are semi-automatic data capture mechanisms where there are certain measurement equipments which we connect directly to our softwares. And then there are automatic data captures. For example, there are PLCs, different machineries. We connect those machines directly to our software. So we have kind of touched upon all possible modes of data that can exist. The question is implementation, right? Now, another interesting thing that you will see in this industry is whenever we approach, the first question our customers or potential customers ask is, I have some XYZ software, right? Can you integrate your software with our software? Our response usually is yes. the way we have designed our software is Industry 4.0 ready. Okay. So we have all the APIs for any kind of integration. The question is, the handshake requires two hands, right? Please ask your vendor, your existing supplier of your software, can they integrate? Usually 90% of the cases it is no is the answer.
Okay.
And these are big brand names, right? And they don't have the integration capabilities. And that is where the challenge is, right?
So in those cases, can you provide them a 360-degree service, or you are still dependent on the vendors to, give you some data, or there is some need to work with them to provide a 360-degree solution, or you can do that yourself?
So couple of reputed, like for example, SAP or Microsoft Dynamics, they all have come up with integration technology. They have realized that integration is the name of the game going forward. You have to coexist. However, there are smaller reputed vendors as well as little less known kind of things. I feel there is a sense of insecurity that if I do not let anybody else coming in, I can probably expand little more in my market. That I think is the insecurity among many software solution provider. But again, as I told you, we are not selling software, we are selling solutions and opportunity. And we fail when our customer is failing in achieving those objectives. So as Zometric, our principle is anything that we build, tomorrow if my customer says I want to integrate with XYZ, we have all the APIs for taking the data in or sending the data out. It is usually the problem the other side. One of our customer, for example, wanted to integrate our solution with some of their existing solution, which is in there's a local solution provider. It didn't work out. Eventually, they realized that we can help them save more money. We can give them better ROI. Now the discussion is to replace them completely with our solution.
Okay.
Right? So we have various solutions, but we don't say you have to take everything as a package. We say you need X, you take X. You need Y, you take Y. You need Z, take Z. Probably the X has a alternative in the market. We can integrate our Z and Y with that X. Not a problem. We don't enforce anything like that. But when that X alternative of that X is not ready to do the integration, sometimes our customers take the hard call of replacing that X with our X.
Okay. Oh.
Because we are affordable. We are far more affordable. In one case, our annual subscription charge was less than the AMC of that particular X. For the entire package, X, Y, Z, Z, my annual subscription is less than the AMC of X.
So in those cases, do you feel that your prices are low? And
yeah, we feel our prices is low, so I need to talk with Pradita on what we can do about it. But our objective is different.
The objective is different. Considering Make in India. So the concept which we are building is like we are also trying to contribute to the industry in our ways of helping them grow and all. So it's why India is not, means when you compare
you
quality,
want it to be more accessible.
So if you take an example of like maybe a quality car, best in the world, just give me a name.
Mercedes.
Yeah. Why companies from out of our country, right? It has to be from our countries. This product has to be.
Why do you have a German company as the recognized quality?
Maybe Maruti.
So have you ever seen any advertisement where Mercedes says we are best in quality? No, nobody sells quality, right?
Yes.
It is like you feel it, you believe in it. It's tried and tested and tasted. Nobody sells quality kind of thing.
Right.
So, but you perceive it the way they deliver their products to you.
Right, of course.
Gradually with time, you will understand that what that quality means to you. So that how we are trying to build a name for our country that way.
Okay. So you think.
So it's not about the prices we take from our MSMEs or kind of thing, which we have done it consciously. We know what our competitors are priced at. We have taken this as a conscious decision that we'll price it this way So those who think implementing this kind of software could cost them like 10x, we can
Yes.
do it at a fraction of that 10x.
So
Well, not.
do you think this pricing will help you get more customers
So
in the short run at
we
least?
have
Because
kind
then
of
you
pricing
reach
like
more people.
we have kind of pricing which
Okay.
accommodates different type of customers. So if you are using it less, you pay less. If you are using it more, you pay more. So that's how
You customize it
we
as per
customize
their
it, and
needs.
our solutions are also flexible.
Okay.
Everybody don't need everything, but we keep on educating them. We gradually, so it's like step by step improvement where they understand the value, and the adoption is a bit slow, but
Okay.
it's gradual increment.
So
In this context, I will give one example. Before starting up, actually, I did a market survey by acting as buyer of certain manufacturers on behalf of certain manufacturers. So this was a manufacturer of a button, right? Very low value kind of a item, right? I approached a little known brand in a manufacturing execution system. It's not an ERP. It's more about the solution like that. The the salesperson of that company asked me, "What does your company do?" I said, "Button," right? Oh, okay. What's your turnover? I said, XYZ. I don't think we will be a good solution for you. It's minimum. It's the minimum that we can start it
there's
as,
a minimum turnover that
you
they
know,
cater to because that's the minimum.
25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, anything, some random number.
Right.
If you think you have this budget, then we can talk further. That's the response that I got as a customer.
Right.
But today, if a customer comes, a manufacturing customer comes, like one of our customers here is just a startup, right? Their turnover is less than 1 crore rupees. They're using our solution.
You're right.
Right? The way we have designed it is we will not prevent anybody from doing it. It's all cloud-based, multi-tenant architecture. Things are readily available. Yes, customization and all these things will take money, but there are some ready-made solutions, plug-and-play solutions. You come and take one concurrent license subscription, and we can start off with that.
Okay. So it's a subscription-based software that you're offering.
To add to it, like, see, what if Geo was not there? When Geo launched, prior to that also solutions were available, internet was available. But when technology was available to everyone, we are seeing the changes, right? How India is improvising,
So
how
the ecosystem need to change.
UPI got implemented.
Yes.
So when something is available at an affordable cost, it's not what we earn, it's how the
We
entire grow
and
together.
everybody earns.
So it's now Geo is profitable.
Right, of course.
So
And coming back to the thesis that I was talking about, that 120 billion going down the drain, a significant part of that is not inside the factory. It is between customers and suppliers as well, right? And if I design a solution which excludes smaller suppliers and vendors, right, it doesn't work out. So the way we have designed it is, if it's a large factory, they're paying us more money, which kind of funds our development, research and all that. And if it's a small company, our cost is not getting covered, but still we are enabling the ecosystem. Only when see, manufacturing is complex. If I as a supplier am not ensuring delivery on time, or if I'm sending bad quality product, it impacts my downstream. It impacts the downstream further. For example,
it trickles down. There is an integration issue.
Right. There's an integration issue. Let's say you have a car, right? Let's say he is manufacturing the engine piston, I'm manufacturing the engine cylinder. If we don't sync up, right, then your car will not be good.
Of course.
Right? So I can't be selling only to the OEMs. I need to sell to everybody. And all of us need to, our problems are common. I might be a small vendor, but the problem is common. And ultimately the end consumer wants things at a low cost, on time, durable, everything, right? So it's a supply chain problem and not a localized factory problem that we are solving. Right. And as I told you, interconnectivity, right? I can connect with a supplier.
Mercedes, because the parts in the Mercedes are of that
exactly.
quality. Yeah. So it's not just
their
the car
suppliers have made Mercedes
yes,
what
yes,
it is.
and they are supposed to adhere to a strict standard. So you ensure that the standard and the overall quality of these companies improve so that they can contribute further to growth.
Yeah.
That's
And when we talk about quality, don't think of the physical product quality,
of course,
right? Quality is also ensuring your product is getting delivered on time,
on time.
right? For example, I was in Amazon.
Yes.
For Amazon is not responsible for the poor quality of the product, but still they had a quality division or a function whose responsibility was to ensure the products get delivered on time, right? So on time delivery, supply chain reliability, like if something happens to one supplier, is something we are able to do something. So all of these things is the big Q. Okay. And out of that big Q is what we have the cost of poor quality, right? That is also of the big Q. Of course. Right. So addressing a lot of things in life, we kind of break down into smaller pieces and see where we can solve what bit of problems. Yes, we can do. There are specialized solutions that we can do for XYZ, but the bigger problem is of integration here, right? That's all about Industry 4.0. When we talk about Industry 4.0, it's like an example I can tell you, right? So, for example, I'm seeing certain kind of defects have cropped up in my manufacturing. I don't know why it is happening right now, right? But in a digitized form, I have a lot of information with machine learning algorithm kind of things, technology that we are building. I can tell you, hey, looks like last time you had this problem. You had a problem in the pneumatic in some other process which is feeding into this process, or probably a supplier's problem of a certain batch is linked to this, right? So all of these things can be done in real time if I have the data in the system. Right. So these problems were very difficult to be solved before this situation. It's exactly like we never asked those questions before Google, but when Google came, we had those questions and we started asking. So these are the problems which we kind of assume that these waste is going to be there in the process, but it can be eliminated if we enable the ecosystem with the technology. That's good. And I will say, I was talking to somebody else earlier today, and we were talking about how entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. And you had a 15 years experience, you have 12 years experience. So to give all that up and to start your own company, like you could have probably done this staying within a corporate and probably doing it for them, but you took the risk and you came out and you did it for yourself. What was the motivation? Like, why become an entrepreneur? Would you like to answer?
So it's like, see, yeah, I will agree with you. That is one of the difficult thing what you will take up in your life. But if something is driving you, like motivating you, if you think this can be a success, then you will always see ahead and towards your vision and all. So that is what makes you see every day there is a lot of struggle and all. We keep fighting, keep hustling, everything is there, but that is what keep you motivated. See, there are days when we return back home being exhausted, being losing heart, losing customers, no revenue, everything is there. But when you see an opportunity the next day, me being from the sales side, it's keep me motivating because every day I have to keep a smile in my face and start communicating with my customers because they are paying you. Right. So they are not here to listen to your sad stories or something. And when you get whatever money your customer pays, you are being liable for their success. And we are here to make them success. So that is how I feel motivated about all those things, and I feel energetic that let me continue doing this, the good work what we are doing it. And again, to add to this, we are solving a problem which we think maybe it might take some time for us to do but it will generally give a very good opportunity for our country to showcase us to the world. So that way we'll make a name for us and for our country also. That is what I think. You contribute to the overall growth while you doing your what you like. So there are a lot of not only just this, we are just talking about corporates, companies and all. we are running one of the parallel program, educating all the college students and all at very affordable cost.
Oh, okay.
So this is just not only the part where we are trying to contribute to the industry.
Right.
It's like we are making our future generations understand, utilize this tool, how to implement it, educating them, training them. We are also um, means, distributing it to all the educational institute at a very affordable prices to
Okay,
them.
so you do a skill development programs.
Yes.
Yeah, so see, Industry 4.0, all these things are good, but who will
Of
Will
course,
take
you
it
need
forward,
skilled
right?
labor for that.
You need people who are trained in it. So recently we have started a program where we will start educating the fourth year engineering, people, or
Okay.
the diploma people who will go into the factories,
Right.
right? We train them with technology and the concepts they required, not necessarily only on the software,
Mhm.
but as a concept, how to
Concept.
identify different wastages, opportunities, on how to solve the problems. So that's a program that we are doing in association with some consultants as well in the industry. Coming back to this question, like entrepreneurs and all that, I have a very intrinsic reason, right? I wanted to be an entrepreneur from day one. The reason I started so late is because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? I knew with my sane mind that if I come to entrepreneurship and my stomach is empty, right? And if I have dependencies, I have worries, then I will not succeed. I needed a free mind like a child when my parents were taking care of my needs, right? So it took 15 years of my life to come to a state where I can say, okay, now I don't think I need to worry about my monthly paychecks, right? So although there are many entrepreneurs who recommend other, young generation to drop out of college, and of course, if your father is rich enough and you're making money and you can do that, not a problem. Ambani's kid will not go and do a job like we are doing, but otherwise the recommendation is first take care of your
Yes.
hunger, shelter, and healthcare of your family and yourself. When you feel you are at a situation when you can do this, follow your passion. Otherwise, your passion will die. You will come back to job and you will not be very happy in your life. So
I think
that's
it
my
was Shah Rukh
recommendation.
Khan who said that empty stomach, you can't become a philosopher on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
You need a full stomach to go on.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But
And
didn't
it's
you?
always like if your family starts supporting you, that
Yes.
is where the means they are not visible to the world, but
Of
it's
course.
obviously your family. Even if at this stage when we have done a job
I
for like
understand.
quite
Yes,
a
yes.
couple of years, and still it's always your family behind you.
Yes, of
When you
course.
are extending your work hours, you are not financially stable. It's always your family
Yes.
who motivates you to keep the
You
work what
can't
you are
do
doing.
it without this.
Yeah.
That is something that I agree completely. But when you started, digitalization was also happening in the industry. So weren't you a little didn't you consider it a risk that you already have competitors in the market, or you will have many people competing in the same sector or same industry trying to solve the same problem? Now you say your prices are competitive, but you still have, like you were saying, you're not the only service provider. There are a lot of them. So how, like, you had to take a call whether to get into it and to stay there and still make a niche for yourself.
Yeah. So no competition means there is no market as well.
That
So
is
that's one validation that you should see. When you're coming and doing an entrepreneurship, we should go a little more deep into the problem that we are solving and not just be very superficial. As I said, we don't sell software.
right.
We sell outcome. We sell solutions, right? So what I found is although there are softwares in the market, but they don't sell solutions, they don't commit on the results,
And they're not as involved.
of course.
Okay.
And
And
even
they had
Samvit,
a piecemeal approach, right?
Yes.
We have a more of an integrated approach.
till date, more of the softwares were like data collection kind of thing.
Hmm.
Nobody
Or
was
data analysis. They were
analysis kind of
offline
thing.
and
Either they were collection or analysis, but both were in different silos. They were not connected. Uh, we are creating an environment where you can analyze those data.
Right.
What is the use of so much of data when that cannot be analyzed or make into valuable insights and
Right. You
from
can't
where you
use
can
the
take
data,
it.
then there's no
A-
data
a- and
data,
you know, machine learning and AI coming in, it has opened up
Open a
opportunities
lot of opportunities.
that the 40-year-old guys in the market don't have. Like for example, one of our module is something that uh, another company is completely based for, right? That's all this is apply.
Okay.
They're doing that for last 40 years.
Oh.
It took us less than a year to become an alternative to them.
Oh wow. So
Right.
adaptability is one of your
Yeah.
And the
So
technology
AI is
available
helping us
today
build
is
technology faster,
faster.
and that is how we are cheaper.
right.
The
And you're
old
adapting
is
with it, and
yeah.
you're upgrading,
Yeah,
upskilling.
if you
Yeah.
see just 2 years back, means when was ChatGPT launched? It was like 1 year back.
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
1 year.
So the
approximately.
cost of developing something was
Much
way
higher.
more
way
than
Way
more,
more
more
than-
than what
So
it is
they have a
today.
baggage which we don't have.
Yes.
So
So
they have
every-
a-
every-
agility comes in
Every
Yeah.
industry disruption disrupts the old and creates an opportunity or a level playing field for the newcomers.
So no software company products were built for like from the day one they will be profitable and recover all their investment. So they have done it for like couple of years.
Yes.
So with AI coming in, it's like we means all startup companies will get an opportunity who are the early adopters will get an opportunity to
Yes. Because they have that
yeah.
flexibility and, like I said, adaptability and
So
agility.
the answer to your question is how we could be affordable is thanks to AI.
As an anecdote, this is a Tata Group company that adopted our solution. We got the purchase order, we got the things to be delivered. Later on, we came to know that whatever solution we are providing, the exact same solution was provided by somebody else at 5x the cost.
Oh.
So it's always a baggage for them. It's always a baggage for them to.
And
come
I
up
said,
with
then why
that.
did you guys still negotiate with us?
That's how they become
They
very
become,
good, probably. So, what are some major challenges that you face? I would personally think that digitization part will because that takes a lot of time to just convert everything because everything is in paper, everything is in on unorganized form. So to organize it, to take it out in paper is probably one of the major challenges that you must be facing. But what are some other challenges? So is it not that difficult these days?
I think it's not difficult to start. It's just the mental block, and a lot of people think that we can't do things. And when we start, it is easy. Not only for companies like us, for the established manufacturers as well. One of our customers just started. They saw the value, and now they are saying do it for the entire factory. Another customer did it for one factory. Now they're saying I have 14 more factories. Do it for all of them. So we just have to start, and then we see the results and
But
values.
isn't it difficult to convert everything, from text to and isn't there a risk involved that there might be some gaps in conversion which might affect the data or the outcomes of the day?
Of course, risk exists, and that is why you need to start small and then grow from there.
So the point is like the struggle is people think with digitization, the way you said, it has to be completely digitized
While
at
using.
one go.
Yeah.
It's not like that. We recommend our customers to start it from a small as a pilot project or POC kind of thing. Let you get the value out of it. You see the
Get the
value.
confidence and then.
And there are a lot of departments in manufacturing also.
Yes.
So we see it as a one manufacturing setup, but there are departments where dependencies, everything is different. So it takes time for them to take a decision. Adoption is slow. So the major challenge we see is like taking things on the table and going ahead. It takes time, but once because we have this fundamental right, like all our projects got started within 4 hours of getting that PO. This is how quick we are with all our projects.
So forget those months taken for
an
implementation and
implementation.
everything. No,
We are like, you give me 4 hours, we'll implement it.
we
You give
mentioned
a
it in
PO,
our quotation.
we have mentioned it on quotes.
Right. So 4 hours of consulting is free.
To do that kind of job, how big a team do you have? Because
The beauty is it's a small team. The product should be good enough to start implementing something in hours, not in days or
Right.
months,
Okay.
right? So we have made everything that is required to start quickly at a very low cost. It's all cloud based, right?
Oh,
You don't need to set up a server. You don't need to, commit a big amount or anything.
right.
Start with one manufacturing process, one part. Start doing it and see how it
So
goes, and then
it's
scale
all
up.
very automated and SOP driven and
Yeah, start with the manual data capture,
yes, yes.
then move on to the semi-automatic, and then the
Semi-automatic.
So the
automatic.
manual data capture is done by your guys or the
They do
factory?
it.
They
They
do
do
it.
it.
We
They do
train
it.
them how to
We
do it.
train.
Okay.
So it just takes us 4 hours to get them started,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So if anybody is interested, all that they need to commit is 4 hours,
Oh,
and not even money, because only when they see success they pay us money.
that is good. That gives some kind of confidence for the manufacturers also.
So instead of thinking for 4 hours, give us 4 hours. That's all we are asking.
Yeah.
So how many cities do you currently operate now?
So currently we are physically located in Bangalore and Gurgaon. We wanted something in Bhubaneswar, but didn't materialize, or maybe in future we will do that. But we have in Gurgaon and Bangalore. We have customers all across India
Yes.
and in US and some in Europe, which are taking trials, and they might
Mostly
require.
all major manufacturing hub.
And these are managed remotely. You train them and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do.
interestingly, 90-95% of all implementations are remotely. Wherever we have spent money traveling, they have not converted yet. Because we're talking about digitization, and if these people are not even comfortable arranging a web meeting and understanding.
So, since we are doing it at a very affordable cost, we also try to minimize our
of
cost.
course.
Yeah.
So, in the initial meetings, we request our customers will do it remotely. If you don't feel that this can't be implemented,
Okay.
we'll come down to your office. No worries. But fortunately,
A lot of time manufacturers underestimate, saying that my process is very complex, you need to visit to understand. I said, look, I have worked in 70 companies. Yes, 70 companies, because 36 of them manufacturers and remaining my customers that we have done something. We understand manufacturing. You tell me what you're manufacturing. Okay, I will tell you what is to be done next. And the way we have designed our software, like the same software is being used in automotive, same is being used in electronics, electrical kind of a thing, same in pharmaceutical.
Knowledge of so many industries actually helped you make this.
That's the architecture of the
Yes.
product.
yeah.
That's the
architecture,
USP.
yes, and so that is why it can be easily integrated into any manufacturing process.
So as they say in Pareto principle, right? 80% of your effect comes from 20% of the problem. So we have picked up those 20% of the problems, which is common across the industry, covers 80% of all industry use cases. So that's how we have started, and that is where we start offering solution, which is why it's very difficult for some people to understand that how can a solution for pharmaceutical be applicable for automotive. But we are not giving industry vertical specific. Every company needs to do scheduling, every company needs to do quality monitoring, they need to do the analyze that data.
Common processes across all manufacturing companies and industry, and that's the problem you are trying to
It's the architecture of our software which help them configure. It's like agile in terms of configuring them.
Okay.
And we take a project of custom development also.
So after say they have like integrated your software into the system, and now they've started entering data and generating reports, and the after sales service is what like you provide that remotely from Bangalore.
Yeah.
Your team is based on it.
Yeah.
So we say we are affordable. One of the reason we are affordable is we don't spend money on travel. Imagine if I have a conversion ratio of 1:10, right? And each travel approximately you can consider like XYZ amount I'm spending. Where am I getting that money from? From that one customer who is paying me, right? So you're paying me for 10 people's inefficiencies or 10 people's not buying. I don't want to charge to that one guy. So we kind of minimize. We charge for our travel.
And you are bootstrapped.
We are bootstrapped. We're bootstrapped. We are growing with our own money. We are very very efficient and lean in our own way of working, because that's what we preach. So we first follow that. So
you don't plan on going say to Shark Tank because we've been hearing of Shark Tank a lot. So That's the only thing that comes to mind. But have you considered funding in the future and going big?
Yes, yes. So the initial, our goal is now we have about 14 customers. Yeah. So our goal is about, 15, 20 customers that will give us a validation of all the things. Some modules exist, some modules we need to still build. We are in talks with venture capitalists, and some of them have shown keen interest. Uh, Probably there's a funding, winter
Run
crunch kind of a
coming.
thing, and that is also one of the reason. But yes, we would like to take funding as a scale of funding or a growth funding, where we can accelerate and create faster,
Yes,
the
because
impact
I
faster.
feel
Yeah.
R&D is an integral part of what
It
it
will
will
be. It
be.
will always be a learning process.
Yes.
We will take that probably from HNIs, probably from VCs. We are not made up any yes or no decision yet. As of now, we have been operating very, very efficiently in a very capital efficient way. Investment is not going to change the DNA, right? So investment is only going to accelerate it or scale up faster. Our unit of economics is our attempt will
And of
to
course, you
remain.
look for an investor who's in alignment with your motive, your
Yeah.
principles, and your core values,
Yeah.
which is to be, from what I understand, accessible to more people and to provide them a service which probably somebody else would charge a little higher, or to be more, how do you say, agile, to be integrated with their
Yeah.
systems. That's what I understood. That is your core
Yeah.
principle.
More of an impact
Yes.
creating thing. It's not that we are not for profit, we are for profit. But whatever profit as of now we have made, we have reinvested into our own startup to add new modules, new
Of course.
features, and things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So
It was a pleasure talking to you. Any final words for all the young entrepreneurs out there who are just starting up, or all any manufacturing companies, or if you are somebody who's involved in a manufacturing company, I think this is something that everybody gets benefited from, and probably this adds more value to the whole manufacturing industry as a whole, because I feel if we somehow remove the bottlenecks and improve quality, overall as a nation we'll develop faster than
of
we
course,
are.
of course. So one word that I would say, because of the recent developments, we see a lot of people who have got interested in software development and things like that. Of course, a good area, but with AI coming in, that service sector is going to get impacted. It has started getting impacted, and it's getting impacted at a very accelerated rate. If we have to grow as a country, we need to invest heavily into manufacturing, and our young generation should also not feel that manufacturing is anything less and software is anything great. Of course, we are software providers in the manufacturing sector, but I think
Manufacturing still remains a
out
core.
of $80 trillion, we are only $2.5 trillion. Uh, can see the headroom, right? See the headroom. We are a 5 trillion economy. Of course, this calculation of GDP and this is slightly different, but 2.5 versus 80.
And
This
we
is where
are
we
labor
can.
intensive country. We have labor available.
Yeah.
So if we don't utilize it,
Yeah.
and we don't use the potential, so then I think
So people should come out of that mindset that I need a specific kind of job. Every kind of job can be interesting if you are passionate about it. You can do something. I would urge more entrepreneurs to become manufacturers right now. Right, there is huge opportunity. China's costs are going up. You can export. So my urge will be, we have good number of AI, ML, data science startup kind of companies. Please take up some manufacturing things. I think government of India is
I also
also.
feel product-based business are the ones which will go a long way to add value to our
Yeah,
GDP and to our growth. So,
yes, it's long term and stable.
yes.
Maybe there was an arbitrage in terms of the labor cost in US, which created an opportunity for India for a good 15-20 years of time. But it's time now we should gear up into other sectors like
Yes,
manufacturing or.
definitely. That's what I was probably telling somebody, that there is money to be made in India. Don't look towards US and Europe and other countries. There is money here. There's money to be made. It's only you to grab the opportunity and start work.
We are the world's largest population, isn't it? right? Our internal consumption itself is not going to be anywhere less. So think of, we should think
And
less
we are
about.
materialistic people at the end of the day,
End
so
of
we
it.
do consume a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure talking to you and having you both here.
Thank you.
And so we'll end this episode today. If you've not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that and like this video. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.